Hi guys, welcome to Online TESOL. My name is Alan Scaife and I'm going to be your TESOL teacher. Now, I've been teaching for many years, mostly in class, but I also taught our previous TESOL series that was made a couple of years ago. So this is a new updated version. I hope it's a lot better. We're going to learn a lot of stuff in TESOL. And I hope you guys are going to be involved. And I really recommend that when you're watching the TESOL videos, you really should take notes. Or if you really didn't understand something, please go back and review the videos, right? But you know, the very first thing we need to talk about is TESOL, right? What is TESOL? Some people don't actually really know what it means. So I'm just going to write that down on the board really quickly. Let's just take a look here. We got T-E-S-O-L. TESOL. What does that mean? Well, of course, you already guessed. The T is teach, or actually teaching. And then, of course, we all know that the E must be English, right? So we got teaching English. Now, a lot of people think as a second language. No, it actually doesn't mean that. Actually, what we do have here is teaching English to speakers of, and what would that O be? It's other. And then think about, I know a little bit of Korean, so actually if you guess this word here, you could probably guess this very easily, but think about a horse. So think about a horse, and think about a horse in Korean. What is that? Horse is mal, right? Mal is horse, but mal is also language, right? So, language. I hope that makes sense. I haven't studied Korean for a while, so actually that might be wrong, but I hope you understand. So anyhow guys, so of course this is our online TESOL course, and the first thing we need to do is, and at the beginning of every lesson we do this, we always talk about the aims. Now of course this is Module 1, Lesson 1, but we always talk about the aims of the lesson. So we're going to be talking about 3 major things in the first lesson. The first major thing we're going to talk about is that we're going to develop a concept of both good and bad teaching, right? There's a lot of good teachers out there, and I've had so many colleagues over the years, and most of my colleagues, most of my fellow teachers, a lot of them have really good skills, right? I've met so many great people. I'd say 90% of them pretty good. However, we're also going to develop a concept of bad teaching, because of course over the years, I've met some bad teachers, right? So that's our first aim for today. Our second aim for today is we're going to talk about something called self-evaluation. Now, self-evaluation is not something that only teachers do. I'm sure everybody does this, but we're going to talk about it in detail. And our third aim for today's lesson is we're going to discuss the classroom climate, the environment in the classroom, and what affects the classroom climate. Anyhow guys, so this is our first video. I'm looking forward to getting to know you, hopefully, even though I'm on video and you're watching the video, but it's very nice to meet you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Actually, my hand smells really bad. Anyhow, sorry. Let's move on. Okay guys, welcome back. We're going to talk about good teaching first before we talk about bad teaching, right? So anyhow, now when it comes to thinking about teachers and good and bad teaching, you know, it's very subjective, right? Maybe what you think is good, I might not 100% agree with, but there are some things that we can definitely all agree on. So if you guys look at your sheet, you'll notice that, you know, there are 5 empty spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want you to fill that in later, but let's talk about this together first. So if I'm thinking about good teachers here, the first thing I might think of, and this is really super basic, but I might say a good teacher is punctual. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody already knows this, but if you are a punctual person, you know, you're the kind of guy or kind of woman that always comes on time, right? So a good teacher is punctual. Is this super important? Yeah, not really, but it's kind of a good thing. Anyhow, the second one I want to talk about, and I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm not going to write the full sentence. I'm just going to go like that. I would also say that maybe a good teacher respects his or her students, right? Or shows his or her students respect. Of course, we should respect our students. So we're going to say respects his or her, and I'm just going to write SS for students because I'm a little bit lazy. I don't want to write the full thing. Anyhow, guys, let's think of another one here. Let's say maybe a good teacher treats all of his students in the same way, right? Or the good teacher maybe doesn't favor some students over other students. Now, I'm sure if you guys think back in the past, maybe you remember your times in high school or junior high or even elementary school, you might have had a teacher that might have favored the girls over the boys, or the boys over the girls, or the smart students over the not so smart students, right? But yeah, that's not very good. I think we can all agree that that's a bad idea. So I would say a good teacher does not favor some students over others. It's just not a good idea, and it's not very nice. Okay, well, I'm running out of boardroom here, guys, but if I was talking about the fourth thing here, I'd say that, you know, a good teacher doesn't spend all of his or her time lecturing, right? Now, everybody here knows what a lecture is. That's, you know, when we're kind of giving a speech, a presentation. And of course, as a teacher, giving a presentation, giving a speech, that's really, really important. That's a big part of your job. But sometimes you got to do activities. You got to be active, right? And if you're always lecturing, then it's just going to get boring. So I would say another good thing here is a good teacher does not spend the whole class lecturing. Otherwise, it's going to get bored. Students are going to go to sleep, or students are maybe going to play video games in your class, and that's terrible, right? Anyhow, one more thing I think I could mention here is that a good teacher drinks, actually this is a funny one. So actually I'm just going to write this one down. Maybe let's say a good teacher drinks excessively the night before class. So what does that mean? Drink excessively. Excessively means too much, more than enough, right? So what do you think? A good teacher drinks excessively the night before class? No, of course not. That's a terrible idea, right? You can't be an alcoholic teacher. Well, maybe you can, but I'm just kidding. Anyhow, guys, so these are just 5 ideas of what a good teacher does. I want you to really spend the time and think about this and write down 5 things that you think good teachers do. So just think about all those great teachers you had in the past. I'm sure you had at least a couple of great teachers, right? And think about them, and I'm sure I would agree with them too. And after that, we're going to talk about bad teachers, which actually is more exciting, right? So let's move on. Okay guys, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about something that I believe is a little bit more exciting than good teaching, bad teaching. Now I'm pretty sure if you guys think back to your time in high school or junior high, or I think in Korea you guys say middle school or elementary school, whatever, possibly even university, I'm sure you guys have had some bad teachers, right? So let's talk about the characteristics of bad teachers, or what do bad teachers do, right? I'm sure they do a lot of things that are pretty bad. Anyhow, one of the worst things I believe bad teachers do, and I've had this personal experience in the past, unfortunately, and I'm going to write it on the board, is this. I would say a bad teacher makes his or her students feel, and then this is a really, really tough word, and that word there, like if you guys think about, for example, like a criminal, maybe you guys watch some criminal drama TV shows in Korea or from America or whatever. If you think about the opposite of a criminal, what is the opposite of a criminal? The opposite of a criminal is the victim, right? The person who is hurt by the crime. But actually, we can use that word victim kind of like a verb. So we can say a bad teacher makes students feel, well, in this case, an adjective, victimized. Dun, dun, dun. So if you feel victimized, you feel like a victim, right? You feel like somebody has hurt you, right? So I had this experience back actually in grade 11 math class, where I had a very, very smart teacher, and he seemed like a nice guy. But for some reason, he was always targeting me. I'm not sure why. And usually he would write an equation on the board. You guys remember maybe some kind of algebra, x12 plus 26y equals blah, blah, blah. And after presenting the equation, he would always ask